Flash, and I'm here outside the Hub Culture Pavilion, the Ice House in Davos. Really delighted now to be joined by Marco Lambertini, the head of WWF International. Now, tell me about oceans. I know that's been on your mind. What's the news? Is there bad news or good news?
They're both, I'm afraid. First of all, oceans is a top priority for WWF across the globe. Such an important habitat and taken for granted for so long. We look at it, so immense, so vast, we think it's invincible. But science is now telling us actually that the ocean is beginning to face serious problems. We have launched the Living Blue Planet report last year that tells us that half of the marine wildlife in the world has been lost in the last 40 years, less than a generation. And 90% of the fisheries are either overfished or fully fished. So we are treating the ocean irresponsibly and we need to change course of action. The good news is that for the first time the issue is clear and the science is crystal clear about what are the issues and what are the solutions. And for the first time last year, governments have come together recognizing the importance of the ocean, not just for the beauty, the inspiration, the fantastic wildlife, but also for the contribution to the economy, tourism, and also fishing. And particularly a critical component in fighting poverty, because hundreds of millions of people on coastal communities around the world, developing communities, are actually depending directly from the ocean for their livelihoods. So I think this is a great news. The ocean is on the map and it is at the highest level of political discussion. And action is beginning to actually take place as well. So in the last 5 years or so, the number of marine protected areas have been doubled, reaching almost 5%.
Only 5, but it's still only 5%.
Of course, we need to get to 20. But in 5 years, they've been doubled when
Right.
they've been staying for 3% for a long time.
Right.
So that shows again that we are beginning to realize the importance and also we are taking action. So our goal is at least 20% of the ocean needs to be sustainable managed.
By when?
2050 at the latest, actually sooner better.
And tell me about overfishing, because I know that it's difficult sometimes to monitor. So how is technology helping you do that?
So this is another exciting development, of course. Thank you for mentioning that, because now we're actually able to track the movement of fishing vessels around the world. And with the collaboration of the governments and the private sector, we can actually exactly know where these are going. If they're illegally fishing, if they're encroaching marine protected areas and so on. So that's, I think, an area where technology can really help fighting particularly illegal and unreported fishing. But overall, I think we've got to really begin to change our relationship with the ocean. We need to consider it as a fragile environment that actually needs care and attention, not something that we can take for granted.
One thing I'm very personally interested in is coral reefs. I've recently been to a bunch of places, Mexico, Hawaii, same places I visited as a child, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Can you regrow those areas? Do we know anything now through science?
So the good news again is that in general, oceans and marine ecosystems can recover quite quickly. They're all connected, it's a very vibrant ecosystem, so they can actually recover quite quickly. The problem with the reef is that, first of all, the scale of the loss. We lost half of the coral reefs of the world in less than 30 years.
It's extraordinary.
And it's an incredibly important habitat for so much wildlife, but also for fisheries. But the other thing is that we continue to look at the reefs as something they should exploit without really putting in place the protection that they need. And finally, climate change. So reefs can regenerate, but if we acidify the ocean through CO2 emissions to the atmosphere that are absorbed by the ocean, and if we warm the planet, the atmosphere, to a point where the ocean will become too hot, then coral reefs will have no future. And I have to say, I cannot imagine how I'm going to explain to my grandson, we have beautiful reefs, we have plenty of fish in the ocean, and they're gone.
We'll have to leave it there, Marco. Thank you so much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion outside the Ice House, and I'm Edie Flash.